Hello and welcome to the Darby Creek Diaries. I'm Gale Thompson. I'd like to welcome you to the June edition of the Just Cards video hop. This theme is weddings and anniversaries. Now I don't have any wedding and anniversary things, or not much, so I had to wing it a little bit. I had ordered some supplies from Canada, and apparently the American carrier pigeons didn't get with the Canadian ones because I ordered it in May and I still don't have the wedding stuff that I wanted to use. So we're going to make a card out of just regular things and call it a congratulations card, which would work for any occasion. I apologize if it's a little hard to see. I'm using Simon Says Stamped Fog Cardstock, and I'm placing the Altenew stencil on top. I'm using the purple tape, which is pretty good when it comes to not tearing up your paper. I'm taking an ink blender tool and I am using Brutus Monroe white pigment ink, making sure that I pounce. On stencils, you never want to rub because it'll go underneath and make a mess, so you always want to pounce. And then here comes the fun part, the reveal. Yay! You can hardly see it, but now I'm going to put some Hero Arts pearlized satin white embossing powder, and it'll give just a little hint of iridescence. To let my heat tool warm up for quite a while, at least 30 seconds or so, because these smaller tools aren't quite as hot as the fancy ones. And you want to just kind of keep moving around so the paper doesn't warp. Forgot to mention, all the supplies for this project will be in the description below and over at my blog. Now, I like to fussy cut, so I don't mind. I think it's relaxing, but I decided I wanted to cut this out. I have, an electronic cutter, but it was going to be hard to define the area. The main thing about fussy cutting is that you want to make sure that you move the paper and not the scissors. And I had to get into some tight spaces there. I didn't want points, and the only way to kind of do it is to cut a flat end like this and then just sort of round it off that way. And it's especially harder when you get to the smaller one in the center. And it doesn't have to be perfect because this is a handmade card. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's made with love, and the person getting it is going to never notice any little flaws. That said, I do like things straight because I notice the flaws, so I'm lining up the congratulations sentiment from Simon Says Stamp from my mat onto a block that also has lines from Gina K. And I'm going to just take VersaMark ink and give it a good press. Now do as I say, not as I do. I forgot to use my powder bag to get rid of any static, and I was mighty lucky. Now here is Hero Arts Detail Silver Powder, and I was able to shake it off and just take a little brush, and there was just one tiny place, but really use the powder bag. I strongly recommend it. Now, once again, I'm going to let my heat tool heat up for around 30 seconds because it needs to get nice and hot, because vellum, even this is a sturdy vellum, it can warp after time. So I keep the heat tool moving. I don't stay in one place, and I kind of go underneath, and look how beautiful that comes out. I just love that embossing powder. Next, I'm going to kind of fit my panels onto my card. I am using the Tonic, it's a matte shimmer metallic paper, and I'm just going to trim it a little bit under 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And look at this trimmer, how thin those slices can be. The only thing about this trimmer is that you have to learn where your 5 1/2 is, because it's not marked on here. But I do like it for slicing tiny slices. So now I have just a little thin white border, and I'm going to take my bone folder and sharpen up my crease. Make sure I have it kind of centered where I want it. Now it's time to put this puppy together, and it goes together very quickly. I'm going to slice and it is scary, but I'm going to find what I think is the best position for my element, and then I'm going to adhere it to the card, and then we'll trim off the excess. But after all that fussy cutting, it is kind of, you would think it's a waste, but you really need to do it all, because if the embossing isn't just quite right, at least you have an out. And I always like to leave myself an out. And I'm using the Fawn glue tube, which I like a lot. It's very similar to the Gina K Connect. As a matter of fact, it's made at the same plant, apparently. And now I'm just placing my feather stencil element on top. And I'm going to take my trimmer, making sure I don't have glue there, and I'm going to trim off the excess. That safety does come off fairly easily. I didn't necessarily want it off, but it just kind of popped off. And now it's time to trim my vellum element for the center of my card. And I'm kind of going by gosh and by golly there, because if you know me, you know how much I love to measure. Not. So I just keep hacking away, which is why I like this Tim Holtz trimmer with the fine strips you can cut. I just keep hacking away until I get what I think looks good. So now I'm going to fool around with this a little bit. I didn't want to snip off the right side. I don't know why. I just didn't. I thought it'd be cool for it to wrap around. And look how I center this. It's totally eyeballing it. And now I'm just going to adhere the vellum. I already had a little bit of stickiness on the back because I had to peel it up once. And now I'm taking my bone folder and getting it all smooth. All you need to do is just put a little piece of tape there, and that will hold the vellum, and you won't see any kind of adhesive. And I hate seeing adhesive behind vellum. That's why I don't work with it very much. I'm pretty generous with the glue tube. And here we're plopping it on the card. Another eyeballing session. And we're almost finished. Here's the finished card, though. I didn't think you wanted to see me messing around with these little tiny little pearls and things, so I just went ahead and put them on. You've seen me do that before. So it's a nice simple card for any occasion, but would work especially for a wedding or an anniversary, especially a silver anniversary. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you will stop at all the other stops that the folks have worked very hard to make for you, and that you'll hit like, and if you would consider subscribing, I would be honored. And also visit me at the Darby Creek Diaries.blogspot.com. I hope you have an awesome day. At the end, I'm going to post a couple of links to some videos I think you might enjoy. Bye-bye.